Hi, I'm Dr. Rich Blana, host of the Healthy Stress Doctor podcast. In this, the 12th edition of the podcast, I'm going to shift gears and talk about coping. Up until this point, we've talked about defining stress and looking at the relationship between acceptance and commitment therapy and stress, and talking about stressful thoughts. Now we're going to put it all together and really talk about managing your stress using a multifaceted coping model. I developed this 5 R's of coping model a long time ago, about 20 years ago, because at that point, all the material out there was really one-dimensional. You know, learn how to manage your stress by learning how to meditate, or manage your stress by learning how to do diaphragmatic breathing. And while those strategies are wonderful, any one single strategy is not enough. What you really need to manage your stress, because stress is so complex, is you need a fairly sophisticated, complex, multi-level model. And that's what my 5 R's of coping model is. And the 5 R's of coping, each R provides a unique level of coping with individual strategies that revolve around it. The first R is called reorganize, and it basically involves building high-level health through hearty health habits. And to me, as a health educator, I think our primary level of defense against stress is our health. And when we're fit and we have a lot of energy and all other dimensions of our health are operating at an optimal level, we're much more resilient and much more able to look at potential stressors differently, because we have the energy and the resilience to deal with them. So the first R, reorganize, is based on developing hearty health habits. The second R, relax, is designed to help you put your body into a state that's incompatible with stress. It's simply impossible to be stressed and relaxed at the same time. So classic relaxation strategies, such as diaphragmatic breathing, systematic muscle relaxation, meditation, visualization, what they all do is they put your body into a relaxed state. And you need to know how to do that, and when you have the time to get yourself into that relaxed state, really can offset the effects of stress. So a big part of my model is teaching people these proven, clinically proven relaxation strategies. The third level of coping is what I call release, and that's based on using physical activity to release the tension and the energy that's associated with the stress response. If you remember, the stress response is all about mobilizing energy to fight or flee. Well, if you neither fight nor flee, what do you do with all this tension and this energy? And release strategies are designed to get rid of it in a healthy way. Now, relaxation strategies sometimes can do that, but they tend to be milder and more gentle. And sometimes, for instance, if I'm doing diaphragmatic breathing, it just isn't enough for me to really get rid of that pent-up energy and tension that the stress response is mobilized. So I need to do something more vigorous. And that's really what release is all about, is teaching you vigorous strategies, to release that pent-up tension and energy. The fourth level of defense against stress in my 5 R's of coping model is called rethink. And rethink is basically revolves around using cognitive strategies to kind of examine our thought processes when we're evaluating potential stressors. And we've talked somewhat about this so far by discussing acceptance and commitment therapy. And I really made a big shift to using acceptance and commitment therapy as my primary rethink strategy. But rethink is more than just ACT, and over the coming months I'll talk about specific rethink strategies, starting with what I call rethinking the big picture, which is really your values and your goals for your life, and then going and moving forward to rethinking the little picture, which is looking at what you have to say, what you're thinking about individual potential stressors. And there really are 2 different levels of rethink strategies, one for the big picture, one for the little picture. And then the final R in my 5 R's model is called reduce, and that's basically helping you find that optimal level of what I call stimulation or demand, but basically the level of activity that's going on in your life that challenges you but doesn't put you over the edge to stress. And we're going to talk about, when we get to reduce strategies, how too little or too much stimulation can be stressful. So if we're not doing enough, we can be bored and therefore stressed. But if we're overcommitted and overtaxed and doing too much, we can simply burn out and get stressed because we can't handle the demand and the pressure. So over the coming months, I'm going to talk about my 5 R's model and teach you multiple strategies under each of the 5 R's. And if you get any of my books, you'll see that all of my coping strategies in my books revolve around my 5 R's model. Whether it's my textbook, Coping with Stress in a Changing World, my first paperback, 7 Weeks to Conquering Your Stress, or my latest book, Act on Managing Your Stress, Using Acceptance and Commitment Therapy to Live a Busy Yet Balanced Life. So again, this 5 R's model transcends all of my materials, and if you go to the newsletter, you'll see that we're starting to talk about the 5 R's of coping models. So if you get a chance, get to the newsletter and pick up next month on our podcast. We're going to talk specifically about rethinking the big picture. Thanks. I hope to see you next month.